Well, you've been gone for way too long, and I've been spending too much time in this double wide alone. Wishing you'd come back to me. Wanted the simple way of life. A couple barking dogs and kids playing outside to warm our hearts till he showed up. Well, money might buy you that diamond ring, but it won't buy love. Well, it's a shame that you moved on, for that flashy life and a couple new best friends. And if you wanna come back, girl, I'll let you in. And I'll give you one last chance again.
Honey, and you lie awake in bed, toss and turn all night, 'cause you're all alone again. Well, if I'm lying while you're crying on the phone, how that you call. It's a shame that life and a couple new best friends. If you wanna come back, girl, I'll let you in. I'll give you one last chance again.
Well, I've got the kids and dogs and that double wide's gone, and I'm happier where I stand. And now you wanna come back. Girl, I'm glad that you moved on, for that flashy life and a couple long-gone friends. 'Cause you used up your last chance for him.
Welcome to the Hooch, where the only place more messed up than your hosts is the barracks on a Friday night or the VA. So get ready to stand by for your weekly dose of toilet humor and shenanigans from your fellow veterans, Coy Mack and Michael Grizzled Grunt Harris.
Mike's so long. And what is up, everyone? What is up, Hooch Nation? You got Koi Mike here, Michael Harris as always, and Kyla, our Hawaiian fat lesbian.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Our Rosie O'Donnell. We love you, Kai, and not trying to make fun of anyone, just saying when I first saw you, that's exactly what you looked like to me, and I'm sorry, and I apologize. I was insensitive.
You look like my Chinese delivery food guy.
Oh, that is hardcore, my friend. Seriously, I didn't know that I had those kind of eyes. I mean, do I really do?
I'm Asian, and you have slantier eyes than I do.
Do you guys agree? Do I have slantier eyes than Kai does?
Yes.
I have no idea.
I agree. You have some ping pong eyes.
I'm like, you can ask anybody.
That's mean.
You look like a fried rice.
You guys are racist assholes. You know that?
It's not racist. I'm a quarter Japanese. I
can totally do this. I can make fun of myself.
I thought black people couldn't be racist.
Yeah, black people can't be racist.
Oh, sorry. I'm the only racist here. That's right.
Exactly. You're racist for calling us a racist.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
I totally lost the social justice card there.
Check your white privilege, all right, bro?
I know. I'm so pasty. I can't help it. So today we're going to talk about the Florida mass shooting, which is obviously a travesty, and I hate that I have to say thoughts and prayers because that's all we ever do is say thoughts and prayers, and it's freaking annoying, and I hate that we keep having to say that. But we'll get into that a little bit more later. We're also going to talk about a Marine vet that was fired. It was recently published in a Task and Purpose article about this Marine who followed ROEs and was fired because of it. They also claim other reasons, but they didn't actually specify what those were. We'll get into a little bit more of that. But first, everybody's favorite part is the question of the day, which is, there's a whole bunch of people around Facebook that are doing the face swapping thing. I did it. Apparently, I looked pretty decent. Not going to lie. So the question is, if you could do your female version, would you? And I think Mike has his own version of this, so I'll let you go ahead and get into that one.
Well, if I did a female version of myself and I didn't know that was myself being myself as a female, I'd smash. But the only thing I worry about is waking up in the morning and I'm waking up looking at myself, like true self, in the morning.
Oh,
that'd be totally weird.
Like your inner beauty self, or you mean just your mustache face?
This grizzled fucking dude right here. See, I roll over in bed.
It wouldn't be you. It would be your mustache version of you.
Yeah,
just like
the whole mustache version of me. Yeah. This whole grizzled dude. I roll over smiling and shit, trying to cuddle, and I'm just looking at myself, and I'm just saying to myself, I oil drilled myself last night. Mm-hmm. I put myself in a fucking hucklebuck, and I enjoyed it.
That's messed up.
I mean,
it's pretty disturbing.
I can't do it. I couldn't. And here's why. You guys already know my status. I don't fuck fat chicks. And the reason why I don't fuck fat chicks is because my
really weight... there, Shallow Hal?
The weight limit on the bed.
No, it's not. It's not the whole shallow hell thing. I just don't want to break my bed. I'm already a big dude.
There is a weight limit. I'll say that. And I'm not trying to fat shame you or anything like that. But that's just myself, the facts.
But look, if it was fucking myself or smash myself, and two fat people don't need to be smashing because it's like smashing Play-Doh together. And I mean, and I looked at the and I looked at the Bruce Jenner version of myself. And I looked at the Play-Doh, not the Play-Doh. I looked at the Bruce Jenner version of myself, and I'm like, can't do it. Looks like my little sister, except just like the lesbian version. It had the pump like how I normally have my hair when I'm all dressed up, and I'm like. The eyebrows were the exact same as my sister. Same nose as my sister. I'm like, nope, couldn't do it. And I'm glad that I didn't do it. But it's like, I look at the video.
I'm almost crying thinking about everything that you're saying. It's that.
And I'm doing terrible. It, and then I think of Buffalo Bill, and it's like.
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Would you fuck me?
I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard.
And it's like
we all have our favorite movies.
The whole thing where I'm just no, I can't do it. I can't. And there's some big girls that get some loving, just not big girls that are my size.
As long as they don't smell like bacon.
Yeah, because you have to adhere to your weight limit of your bed. I mean, that's just logical to me.
And me being the Polynesian small that I am, a 400-something pound.
Polynesian small.
The Polynesian small. I'm like a Hawaiian medium, a Polynesian small, and. or a West Coast schmedium. Like if you look at it, like the West Coast Polynesians or the Hawaiian Polynesians, I'm like, granted, there's an epidemic of how fat we are and how fat most of us are out there. Because, I mean, we like eating good. I mean, it goes back to a couple weeks ago when Mike was talking about how he went to go to his friend's house that was Polynesian. He was Samoan. And he's cooking a full chicken for his mom.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately a full chicken? And at least he wasn't, like, making a whole roasted pig. Like, that would be a different story.
It was a whole chicken. And I was like, who's that for? My mom. And literally, he put it by the doorstep. Or by the door. No, this is true, dude. Put it by the door of her bedroom. It was a big bowl of rice and a whole chicken. And all I saw was this door open and a hand reached in and grabbed both bowls and the door shut. I was like,
and it's like, Shelly.
But here's the question before Coy goes into his.
Right.
Like say you was smashing yourself and you was hot as fuck. Halfway
I don't consider myself to be that.
But
that
I'm just saying,
saying.
Obviously, if you're smashing, there was some attractive. You was attracted to something. So you smashed, you was hitting this shit from behind, just going to town, sweating and shit. And yourself looked over their shoulder and you saw your face. Would you stop?
I mean,
yes, probably. Yeah, probably at that point. I mean, I am no Ethan Hawke. Okay, like I can't do predestination, do myself, create a time paradox.
Would you stop if your booty hole started hurting while you were smashing?
Probably.
Because the penetration that you're doing was going back into your booty hole.
Oh shit.
Okay, well, we should probably pivot to something else.
What about you, Coy?
Yeah, I already said no. I couldn't do it. I don't know. I probably think about it, but then I would realize if I realized it was myself, then I probably wouldn't. But
did you see the Caitlyn Jenner version of yourself though?
Yeah, I did.
I'd smash.
Yeah. I'd totally smash, and I'd be like, shh. I'm telling.
I was actually really surprised that it turned out that well, and I was like, oh, okay. But you know, Barrett, our friend, like his turned out pretty decent too. Same thing with Dino from American Trigger Pullers. Just
Ryan's look exactly like his sister, so I'm like, nope.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
It is creepy.
We love you, Dino, but like
Ryan is my cousin, so nope, not gonna happen.
Dino, I'd smash.
I'd totally do it. But anyway, we got the here. Before we get to the depressing news, let's go to some interesting news, which is the Black Panther movie is coming out this week.
Can't wait.
Or am I wrong? No, it's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday
it's coming out, and there's already calls for boycotts and even profit sharing. So there was we were trolling pretty hardcore on this Christian boycott of the Black Panther thing, but I think it was just a troll group to begin with. So it doesn't really matter. But there is another group that Michael was following that they are calling for the. I'll let you explain it. What was it, Mike?
Well, there was this pro-black, red, black, and green group that wanted revenue from the Black Panther movie, and the reason being, they said the majority of black people are going to watch it, which is a false statement.
Well, you don't think they'd actually watch it, or what?
The majority, that's not going to happen. You know, the majority of black people, no, it's not going to happen. And they said since it's coming out during Black History Month, that's another reason. And they said another reason is because they have marginalized people in the movie. So they figured all the money that they're making off this movie.
They wanted profit sharing.
They want kickback, and I think it was like 25% or something like that. That's a lot of fucking movie. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, man. Like just 25% of it, like that would be a huge amount of money.
And here's the thing: a lot of people out there, and it's not just black people. It's a lot of people out there that don't even know who the fucking Black Panther is.
I know you've gone on a few tangents about this. Like, are you going to school everybody on who Black Panther is? Like, if it's
Black Panther came out in 1965, 1966. He came out right around the time the Black Panther Party was created. Huey P. Newton. So a lot of them, when they saw the catchphrase, the tag Black Panther, they was thinking like, oh, Huey P. Newton. No, then they figured out it's a fictional character. And mark my words, after this movie, orbits is going to be blowing up because everyone's going to be trying to find out how to fly to work.
Go to this imaginary place that doesn't actually exist.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
Show me the way.
You do not know the way.
Know the way.
You do not know the way. Show me the way.
If you don't know what we're referring to, you need to look that up because the Ugandan knuckles is hilarious.
What I'm going to do when I go see the movie Thursday or Friday is I'm going up there talking in straight African freaking slang. They'd be like,
I'm
sir.
talking to Dashiki.
They'd
And
be
then
like,
we
what?
need to get somebody to dress up as Forrest Gump and say, "Oh, I'm sorry to ruin your Black Panther party.
Yeah, they'd be like, sir, what movie are you here to see? You know what movie I'm here to see.
Show me the way."
Show me the way. Show me the way.
Just get a whole bunch of people and clicking their tongues. Show me the way.
Show me the way. Show me the way.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a little bit ridiculous to expect that that movie companies would give you this money in the first place, or the fact that you felt the need or want to demand, like not ask, demand for this 25% or whatever it is.
So my question
That's
is, of those
crazy.
people demanding the money that gets paid back into the communities, how many of them are actually going to pay to go see the movie, or are they going to go watch it on Kodi?
Yeah, they're probably going to pirate it anyway.
Or instead of, asking for money, how about taking that money that you're going to spend for the movie and putting it back into the community?
Right. Oh, there's actually a bunch of people that were getting like last week we talked about Elon Musk with his fuck you money. We're pissed that Elon Musk didn't spend enough of his money to help communities instead of just launching basically $90 million into space because he could. Like they were upset. It's like, you should have done better things with your money than trying to further space exploration.
I saw people bitching that he wasn't putting his money towards cancer research. We don't know that he's.
Yeah, he probably already discovered the cure for cancer, but
he's going to save it.
He's gonna wait.
He's the Antichrist.
I mean,
You
Magic
said that
Johnson
a few
already has a
times.
cure for AIDS.
He's the Antichrist.
You're right.
And with that being said, not to sidestep one more time, but
Sidestep
with
again.
all that sidestep again with that fuck you money, if we're giving methadone to crackheads for free, and why can't EpiPens be free?
Exactly.
That's true. That's a good point.
If my tax money is going to pay for someone who has a fake problem that they created themselves,
Yeah.
why are we not funding people who have allergic reactions?
Exactly.
This is going to be an interesting topic when we start going into the Florida mass shooting, because there's a lot of things I'm going to say that's going to make both sides kind of mad at me for what I'm going to say. But
I'm already mad at you.
I know,
Sure.
like it
You
has
already
to be-
called me
it
a
has
fat
to be
lesbian. I'm already mad at you.
I know
I'm
you're
done.
totally mad at me, but anyway, so today we had another mass casualty event that happened in Florida, Parkland, Florida. There right now, as of this moment of this recording, it is 17 dead, multiple injured, and we know that the gunman was using a rifle of some sort. Not really clear what it is yet. They're saying it's an AR-15, multiple magazines.
Let me just
His
ask you
name
something real
is-
fast. Wait.
Yeah,
Don't
go
even
ahead.
say his name because he wants to be famous. We don't even want to say his name.
Okay, well then we'll just go ahead and skip over that. Anyway, this gunman, this person, was a former student who was expelled from the school and came back in order to shoot up the place. Sounds familiar. Sounds like something we've heard multiple times over the history of all these types of school shootings. And to be honest with you, I'm sick of it. I am. Like, I hate that we keep having all of these different things. This is the 18th one this year alone. And that really sucks because, like, you guys know me. You know how I feel about guns. You know how I feel about the Second Amendment, and that it's a necessary virtue. But then at the same time, I'm torn by my humanity because I don't know what the fuck we can do to stop it. Obviously, taking all the guns isn't going to solve the issue. You know my thoughts on this, right? And I'll go into it in a minute. But at the same time, it's like, when do we say we need to do something and figure out what that is? Because, like, I honestly don't think it's the tools that are being used. It's not the tools problem. It's the violence problem. We have a violence epidemic, and nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about we have a violence epidemic in America right now where it's okay to be ultra violent, and nobody's talking about that. We're always talking about guns. It's always the guns. You know what? Here's a situation for you. If it was just about guns, people with the intent to kill a mass amount of human beings, regardless of what it is, they will find a way to do it. Here, I'll give you an example. Say he didn't have access to the guns. You know what he could have done? He could have waited until all the buses showed up when everybody was outside, ran a truck up on the sidewalk, and ran over every single one of them and killed the same amount of people in the same and actually probably less amount of time. But you know what? That's not what we're talking about. Or what if he made homemade explosives, which is actually pretty easy to do. You could find it on the internet. You could do it. He had the will. He had the means. He could have done that, but he didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make headlines, man.
This is what I'm talking about, though.
And being the type of person I am, I'm always reading it and everything. I am a conspiracy theorist, so.
Well, yeah, I know. We know you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, and I am. I think everything happens for a reason, and I believe there's a lot of play within the powers to be. So, you have this whole deep state going on. You have all this stuff with the FISA stuff. You have all these, the left getting exposed. And all of a sudden, and I said it a couple weeks ago, wait for the next mass shooting. And boom, lo and behold, here we go. What was the intent? What was behind it? Why did he do it?
And here's another.
We don't even know yet. Like that's where
we don't know why he did it. And here's an issue. Staff and faculty have brought up multiple times that this student had threatened to come shoot up the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
they said, don't allow him on campus if he has a bag. Here's another thing. How about you don't let him on campus at all? And, we keep going back to, well, it's the gun's fault or someone's fault. What if we put all the disabled veterans that we have or the unemployed veterans that we have?
Former cops.
Turn them into school resource officers.
I'm going to have to play the devil's advocate with that, and I'm going to shut it in right now. Just because it's not practical. That's why.
Yeah.
The reason why, simply put, it's not practical, and nobody wants to send their kids to an armed school. They don't. They just don't. But they also don't want to send their kids to school that they're going to get shot up either. So it's like one of those things. Like, but they're like,
how often are there shootings in South Central LA at schools?
Crap ton, I'm sure.
Or no,
not a crap ton, but like,
pull it up.
You're talking about schools specifically.
I'm talking about schools specifically.
I have no idea.
When you have resource officers that are inside the school that have weapons that can stop them. There are LAPD officers that are in schools in Los Angeles, not just Los Angeles. If you go all over, especially here in Texas, we have school resource officers that are here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the schools that don't have the resource officers are the schools that are getting shut up.
So your claim is that if they had more school resource officers, this would be less of an issue?
Yes.
I think that 100% it would be less of an issue.
I agree. There would
be less drugs in school. There would be.
I don't necessarily think that's true. Like, just for the simple fact that people, like I said, it comes down to mentality. A lot of this is going to come down to mentality. Even if they had, we'll have to look up examples, but I'm sure there's been school resource officers that have been in some of these school shootings that were there, and it didn't stop or deter the assailant from performing these actions. Right. Well, this comes down to what I was talking about with mentality, and when it comes down to the pandemic of violence, like that's what we're talking about here.
And we are a violent nation, and that's what we're bred from. We come from violence. But one thing that I can agree with Kai saying is soft target, hard target, right?
Yep.
So if I was a guy who wanted to attack a school, and I knew that school was a hard target, meaning there's a possibility there are probably armed people in there that can outshoot me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to attack that target, So they're always going to go for the weak target, the soft target.
Like that's just our military training coming up is like what's going to be the easiest target to attack, and like that's something that you have to think about when it comes to security. Is like school. Back to what Kai was saying, if the school resource officers are doing that, should be a part of the job, is figuring out where are our security laxing, where does it make us a soft target. And to correct that. And you're right. A lot of these schools that these are happening, they don't have anybody that is armed. They don't have anybody that is, taking care of that. Look, I agree with you. It could, in that way, stop an incident from happening. And there has been proof of this before. But at the same time, I don't think it's plausible to do this for every school. And that's the problem that we're looking at.
And that's true. So you think about, like, we put armed guards on assets all the time, whether it's a bank, the White House, government buildings, the governor's house here. We have so many assets there to protect that individual or those individuals. But the kids of our country, they don't get the same protection. Schools have always been throughout history, modern history, a soft target. Yeah. This isn't the first time. It's happened for years, many, many times throughout history. So, history should teach us something. UT, when that shit happened at UT, that guy in the bell tower, that should have taught us something. Like, maybe if someone else was up there with a freaking rifle. That's
also the same thing with the guy that stabbed him on a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Was there. I was still going to UT at the time. Like, that happened just after I had, like, literally left for the day when I heard that shit went down. And this goes back to prove my point. When he didn't use a gun, he used a knife. And it comes down to that, like, that pandemic of violence is, like, what is causing people to snap? What is the root cause of this violence? Because it's not, you can't blame movies. That's stupid. I think it's other factors. I think it's a lot coming down to social. Like, a lot of these people are feeling like they don't have anything going for them. They feel like the whole world is up against them. They think the society, everything, the government is keeping them from achieving what they want to be and where they want to go. And I think a lot of that comes down to it.
And to go back to your point, I wouldn't call it stupid. So, and you're correct when it comes down to, their thought process, but a lot of it comes down to social engineering. So, we see violence all the time. They show in movies how easy it is to rob a bank, or how easy it is to do this and commit these acts of violence. So these people that are mentally freaking messed up in the head are watching these things. And in their mind, they're trying to replay it. A lot of these guys are copycat guys, Yeah. This guy probably saw that kid from Sandy Hook or whatever do it, and he was like, oh, I could probably do the same thing.
I honestly think that's not going to be the motive here. Like I said, I think it's really going to come down to him feeling like he didn't get justice in his eyes. Like, as much as it sounds fucked up and as much as it's wrong, like, I honestly think this guy didn't feel like he was treated fairly. And that's what it's going to come down to, is that he was booted from school. He wasn't given a chance. Nobody cared about him. And he felt like he had to take his revenge on the unjust system in his mind. Like, this is all in his mind. Like, this is not me saying that. I'm thinking that's what it's going to come down to, is like, they're going to discover that's what it is.
Was he a kid that was bullied is one of the main questions? Like, do we know that?
He was let go from the school for disciplinary reasons. We don't know what those are currently. And like I said, like, this might come down to what the psychology of the shooter is going to be. He felt like he didn't have any other recourse but to kill these people. And as fucked up as that sounds, like, that's where his mindset is.
Do we know how he obtained the weapon? Do we know do we have any intel on that yet?
No, it's still fresh. Like I said, like I've always said, is like the first 24 hours of any shooting like this is always going to be wrong, right? Like, you're not going to know all the information right away. And a lot of it's going to be misleading. They might have it wrong. You have to wait a couple of days in order to get all of the information and all the facts, because it's not going to be accurate. First off, a lot of people jump on the bandwagon and they look at it and they go, oh, well, this guy obviously had these and this connections. And, and like, the right and left both do this. Either they jump on the gun connection on the left, or they jump on it's the left's fault as soon on the right side, like far right side. And it's not necessarily true. You have to wait and see.
And the anti-gun lobbyists are going to come out talking about anti-gun, but the real kick in the dick right here is that the left, we already know the ethnicity of the guy. We're not going to talk about him, but this goes against the whole narrative that the left likes to push out, that only a certain race of people do mass shootings like this in schools. So this throws a wrench in their whole argument right here, especially if the guy is not a citizen.
Yeah, like,
then that really throws a wrench in it all.
Well, I honestly don't think that's going to be the case. But Chris Rodriguez brought up a point of this, is that he showed mental health issues or threats and wasn't stopped. Like, look, that's absolutely true.
Yeah,
and that's on the school. That's on the community for not taking. People aren't taking threats seriously, especially when somebody says, "I'm going to shoot up the place." They're like, whatever. They're pretty slow to act on it, and they shouldn't have done that. And that's a problem. But like I said, is that I think when it comes down to it, the violence epidemic is what we should be focusing on, and not the tools itself. And this is where, like, every politician wants to focus on the guns, left or right. They always want to focus on the guns right afterwards. Why don't we focus on what's causing violence in America so much that they feel like this is their only recourse, is to grab a gun and go shoot up a place? Right?
I'd like to find out how he got the gun.
Like the airman that went out in Sutherland Springs and shot all those people, right?
Yeah.
Like, why did he feel like he needed to go do that? Why?
Yep.
Like, what is the methodology? What is the psychology? Why are we so ingrained to want to do this violence? And not us in particular, but people getting to that breaking point. Is there something in our society that is lacking that we need to fix? Like I said, this is going to make a few people mad, but I mean, I still love guns. I'm still a Second Amendment guy, but this is reality here, is we have to start thinking of that.
And for a lot of vets out there watching, a lot of us have committed acts of violence.
Yeah.
You don't hear a lot of combat vets really going out here doing crazy shit like this, So we have to start digging into the psyche of these people in some way, shape, or form, figuring out, like, once they get this guy or they do have him, start, asking those questions like, why? What was you thinking? What drove it? And you start building something so you can start identifying the people, through social media, through all these platforms we have, as a person who may or may not be right in the freaking head.
And I completely agree with you. Like I said, I'm just tired of it. It hurts. Like, as a parent, I don't want to think that my kids have to start thinking about this. Is like they have to start thinking of operational security or even security mindedness when they walk into a classroom. Where's your exits? How are you going to lock the door? Where's your barricades? Where's cover? Like we're gonna have to start teaching our kids this, just so that they know, in the event of a situation like this, they know how to take care of themselves. Like, that stuff we're trained. We shouldn't have to train our kids to do that.
Hypervigilance, man, is keep everyone paranoid. So right.
And like I said, it just bugs me to the point that I wish there was something to do. I don't think taking guns away is the answer. I don't think getting rid of the Second Amendment is the answer. I think we need to take a deeper look at ourselves and realize something is broken, something is wrong, and we're not addressing it. And we just want to talk about the tools the entire time.
Exactly. Show me the way.
Show me the way.
And here's the other thing, like, kind of starting to pivot into our second topic, is that you look at some of the videos that were happening with the shooting, is everybody was grateful and glad to see the cops when they showed up, right? They were grateful that they showed up to the school, they did their job, they got the gunman, took them down. It was great, right? But on any other day of the week, it's always fuck the police, kill the cops, stop the police state, all day, every day. But then mainstream media, here we go. These are the heroes. Look at these guys that came in and whatnot. Then they saved the day. It was great. And then one of the other things that really made me mad is misidentifying a armored personnel carrier or an MRAP as a tank. Are you fucking kidding me? They always say that. 5 minutes on Google, man. 5 minutes on Google would have told you that was an MRAP or an armored personnel carrier. A tank has tracks and a giant fucking tube sticking out the top of it. Come on.
Yeah, they just don't know, man. I mean, they love the cops until they need the cops.
Exactly. And I don't get this kind of double standard when it comes to that. It's like they're like, oh yeah, fuck the police. But then when something bad goes down, they're all like, help us.
Yep.
And it's like you can't have it both ways, man. Like I don't know. Like that kind of annoys me. And going into our second topic, I wanted to talk about this Marine vet who, his name is Stephen Matter. That's an interesting last name.
Doesn't matter.
Matter was let go from the West Virginia police for not shooting somebody, right? It was a armed black man. It happened in May of 2016. And he had a gun. The perp had a gun. He told him to put the gun down and to talk to him. He didn't draw his weapon and fire on him right away. And the suspect was asking him to shoot him repeatedly. Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. A couple seconds later, two other armed officers come up and shoot him. And he dies, right? And then right after that, he was let go for not using deadly force. Mm. And I think that's messed up. Like, and one of the reasons he said is that he cited his ROEs after serving in Afghanistan. Like, I don't know what his MOS, I don't know what his role was in this, but I remember when I was in Afghanistan, our ROEs were some fucking bullshit. Like, we're in a major war zone, and like, I've got to shout, shove, show, shoot before I can even do anything in a situation. Oh, and guess what happens? Camera. But guess what happens? If I decide to go ahead and see somebody with a gun, I shoot them, and then they throw their gun away and they die, I'm a war criminal now. Like, that's what happened in Afghanistan. That's what happened in Iraq. That's what happened in tons of other AOs when it was happening. And this guy takes what he learned from Afghanistan of taking in the situation, looking at what the threat is, and seeing if it's necessary in order to fire. And exactly. I think we need a lot more of that when it comes to police here, is that if we had such hardcore ROEs in Afghanistan, why do we not have the same sort of ROEs here? Like, I'll admit there's certain situations where it is justified. You know, cops are doing what they're trained to do. I get that. I firmly defend that. But at the same time, there are other things that happen that don't deserve it. Like that cop that was exonerated, that hotel shooting. Did you see that one?
No.
So this
guy, I remember.
yeah,
we talked about that
we
one in
talked
the hotel.
about it. And the guy in the hotel was pleading for his life. Clearly wasn't armed, and this cop shoots him while he's on the ground because he feared for his life. In that video, it was pretty disgusting. We've been in situations like that, and you have to maintain your composure and understand what the hell is going around you. Like, that's messed up. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I'm kind of going on a tangent and rant.
You know, one of the biggest issues that I see with this whole situation is he didn't see a threat. The guy wasn't holding the gun in a menacing stance to where he felt that his life was in danger.
Exactly.
I've seen multiple people holding guns, and I didn't feel threatened because, one, it wasn't pointed at me. As soon as you point your weapon at me, I'm lighting you up. Other than that, like,
yeah, the obvious things.
Yeah, the obvious. And you know, I'm not Billy Badass. I don't claim to be Billy Badass, but you know, in a situation like that, he could have, you know, just let it happen.
I mean, you think about ROE and you think about, you know, a lot of the bull crap we had to follow in a combat zone.
Oh yeah,
you know,
you remember popping the flare at people?
Yeah, you could shoot the flare, or you could shoot the non-lethal rounds or whatever. I'm not telling cops to do that, but I'm just saying that's the type of stuff we had to go through. A guy can be carrying a fucking RPG, and unless he was physically pointing it at you, you couldn't take the shot.
Oh,
now,
well,
who
even
knows
then, like, they can always throw the guns away, and then it's like, oh, you just shot civilians.
Yeah, and who knows what these cops, you know, the two cops that came up and shot the guy, maybe they felt threatened. So it's always based off the individual's threat level.
It definitely goes by perspective.
Yeah, perspective.
I'm not trying to diminish anybody here when it comes to this situation. I don't, because every situation is different. Everybody's response is going to be different. Everybody's adrenaline level is going to be different. What you can handle is what you can handle. I get that. But in this particular case, I think they were wrong. I honestly do. They were wrong in their assessment of matter, and they shouldn't have fired him. I know they cite other reasons, but they don't give it clearly in the article, so we don't actually know what those are.
And here's something we have to think about.
Yeah, and they settled with it, by the way. It was like $175,000.
Maybe this guy was actually reaching for help. You know, maybe his mental status wasn't right. He wasn't going to shoot anyone.
Right.
He probably didn't even want to die. You know, he could have had a lot of issues going on. Wife could have left him, could have, you know, lost all. Something was going on there. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times I can understand with this young officer that got fired, he was probably like, well, maybe this guy needs help. I'm not going to kill this guy. But in his mind, I guarantee he was saying, if this guy points his weapon at me, though,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna protect myself.
Mind that Matter would have shot him if he felt threatened enough. Like I don't doubt that.
So that officer, maybe he was new, and other senior officers came up and, you know, smoked the dude. But as an officer, you know, he probably could have said, hey, hold up, this guy needs help. Let's try to figure out what's going on.
Right.
You know, but it's the whole social, you know, the social issues going on in our country right now. You know, this guy was probably thinking, if I smoke this dude, I'm gonna be all over the fucking news.
Oh yeah, because he was a white guy too. Like if he would have shot this dude, he would have been done. So he's like, fucked if you do, fucked if you don't.
Yep.
But he was armed, so I don't think it would have been that much of an issue.
I do have some 2 cents to put in on that.
Okay.
We talked about, you know, shooting flares at people. Yeah. I had who got demoted. He was getting rocks chucked at him in Iraq, and if you know Iraq and Afghani children, those kids can whip some rocks and crack the glass.
Yep.
Yeah. They were some strong guys, man.
And these little kids, I'm not even going to call them kids. These little shits would do it and would knock somebody out with these little pebbles that were like the size of a quarter.
Yep.
So my buddy, who's tired of getting Mister, pen, Mister, candy, Mister.
Yeah, so you throw him laxatives.
So he.
That's messed up, man.
I got someone for throwing a piss bottle.
Right. Don't do that.
I know. I was like, it looked like Gatorade. So this, so my buddy shoots a flare at this kid because his buddy was getting pegged, and the kid was his buddy was bleeding from this rock that hit him, and he shoots a flare and it burns the kid's eye, and he gets an Article 15. Which for
he did burn the kid's eye.
Article 15 is non-judicial punishment, so it's like a ticket, but they take your rank and they take your money.
Right,
Yeah,
dude. I'm gonna say like shooting a flare in somebody's eye is probably a bad thing.
Well,
He wasn't aiming at
say
the eye, and
that.
those flares, as you know,
it doesn't
weren't
have
accurate at all.
It doesn't have a
I know,
sight.
I know you can't really aim with those flares. Like either it is or it isn't. Like that just
We
happens,
threw-
man.
We just threw flashbangs, man. You just scared the shit out of them.
But like I said, the point is like when it comes to ROEs, like the different ROEs for Afghanistan and Iraq were totally different, and the ROEs for police officers and military are completely different. And I think there's a disconnect there that needs to be taught. Like I think that's one of those things that we're kind of missing when it comes to police enforcement, is that needing to upgrade their ROEs and their understanding of events. Like I said, every situation's different. I can't speak for every situation, but I do think there are some situations that could have been handled a lot better, especially like say it was a vet, right, that was going through a really difficult time. He doesn't really want to hurt anyone, but his shit, like I said, his shit just went down.
Yep.
Like that's, and we know guys that have been down that hole and they've gotten in trouble, and all they really needed was help, and they weren't getting it from there. Like they said, that goes back to that deeper ingrainedness of like there's something wrong with our country in terms of violence, in terms of mental health, but we're not wanting to talk about it. It's a really tough subject, you know.
And that's something Chuck Luther, one of the guests we had on, that he does. He's working with the Clean Police to, help identify vets and stress instead of just going in on these guys. A lot of these, on the veteran aspect of it, a lot of these guys have a lot of issues, man. And a lot of cops don't really know how to deal with that stuff. I see it all the time. They just throw you in handcuffs and throw you in jail, beat the shit out of you, and that's it. And they're doing their job.
You're done, man.
They're doing their job because that's their job. Their job is to, they don't really care what you're going through. They just care about whether or not you're breaking the law and whether or not you're causing some type of disturbance. But if you start teaching them and training them how to deal with, people like that, identifying that, and using vets within the police force to talk to these other vets, because that's all it takes. A lot of times.
It's a lot of the times it's talking them down. That's what it is. But like I said, I'm not a law enforcement professional. I don't claim to be. This is just my opinion. These are just my thoughts. So I love our brothers and sisters in blue. I do. You got a tough job as always. Like we identify with you. We understand what you're going through. You do it on a different field, man. Like that's it.
Let me add 2 more cents to that.
Okay.
Police One just published an article recently about why you have less and less officers doing community policing. Mm-hmm. That's because they don't want to end up on the front page news of having to shoot somebody for something that they didn't need to be shot for, and then not murdered, but they don't want to be put on a pedestal of being somebody who's evil for doing the right thing. And that's why, and we preach about how more and more people need to do community policing, while at the same time we're demonizing great officers who are doing great things in the community. Mm-hmm. And that's why you're like, well, do I demonize him, or is he actually a good person? And that's where you have this issue and this I don't know how to word it out, but you have this issue where the officers are stepping back because they want to save themselves. First and foremost,
they're worried about their career. They're worried about their families. Like this is how they put food on the table, man. Like they don't want to go to jail for 10 years because they made a split-second decision.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and when you have all these news agencies like CNN and NBC who are
demonizing them every day,
demonizing law enforcement officers day in and day out, and you have people on the left demonizing law enforcement officers that don't even see the positivities that most of these officers are doing and putting.
It's not just that. Like, look at the Salcido thing. Like, if you read the comments on CNN's one they released today about Salcido going, "I'm not stepping down. You can go fuck yourself," from the council. The council wanted him gone. They asked him to resign. He said no. They can't force him to resign.
But they should fire him. Because, look, my taxpayer dollars aren't going so you can spout off whatever bullshit you want. I want you to, if I was to have kids, I want you, and even if I don't have, even because I don't have kids that I know of.
That you know of.
That I know of. Dude, Germany was a fun time. Anyways, but what I'm trying to get back to is I'm not paying you to spout off what you think. I'm paying you to teach facts. Yep. I don't give two shits what you thought about in your women's history class or women's studies.
And your hippie drum circle.
In your hippie drum circle that's happening while Mr. Antifa is teaching a class on why he hates everyone and everything. And you know what? Like, I wouldn't feel bad if someone took his wife or his kid. I wouldn't, because then he'd be
We don't advocate violence.
No.
We're not advocating
hold on.
violence.
I'm not advocating violence. What I'm saying is, because right after that incident, he would be like, where was the police officer to take care of my kid? Where was the military to protect my kid? That's the kind of issue that we're having in today's society, where you want to demonize every single person until you really need them.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you there. That's that's where we're at with that disconnect, is that, you know, everybody was grateful that the police showed up to the school shooting, but any other day, no, nobody cares. Yep. Nobody cares about you. Like, there has been, I think it was close to 11 police officers killed in attacks specifically meant to murder police officers.
In the last week.
In the last week. And
look at the commander in Chicago who got shot yesterday.
Yeah. 2
days before that, you had 2 deputies in South Carolina and Georgia that were murdered in broad daylight.
Yep.
You know, I'm getting pissed and sick of what's going on in today's society, where people think it's all right to kill law enforcement officers. And I'm tired of them demonizing everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man.
And it makes me sick that, I mean, like, my fat ass can't do anything about it. Like, I back the blue 100%, and it sucks that I can't see our country going in a positive role. We went from 9/11, right after 9/11 happened, to being the most patriotic, loving human beings, of loving America.
We have a short attention span.
We have a short attention span. Yeah, everyone has ADD these days, I guess. But we went from loving our troops and loving our first responders to putting them on trial for things that they don't need to be put on trial for. Yeah. You have
what can happen in 17 years, man. I'm just saying.
You have groups that are calling for the murder of law enforcement officers. You have Colin Kaepernick, who is putting money in a terrorist organization that supposedly helps little girls and women, but they pay for it. Like, they're preaching about how much they love people who kill cops. You know what? Yeah, that's not what Black Lives Matter was about. That's not what they were formed for. And now you have these pieces of shit that are taking it to an extreme. And it's just pissing me off. And I'm like, I know I'm saying more about it this week than ever, but holy fuck.
And there's nothing none of us can do about it. We can rant about it all day. There's nothing we can do, man. The powers that be control the media. They control everything. So they're controlling the dialogue. George Soros. They're going to continue to push it, man. So no matter how much we argue, we beat our chest, we scream and shout. Who's ever controlling the dialogue. We do let it alone. Yeah, who's ever controlling the dialogue controls everything. So they're controlling it. We just have to freaking put our mouthpiece in, man, and keep doing what we do.
And one of the hardest issues for this whole thing is the left says that I'm too white to be brown, and I'm too brown to be white. So because I'm half-breed,
too white to be white.
No, dude, just admit that you're yellow, and we'll let it be.
Welcome to my world.
I'm yellow.
All right, so
I guess I gotta go on this kind of last bit before we sign off tonight. Is I don't know how else to put this. Is like I'm tired, man. I'm just tired of looking at the news. I'm tired of looking at my feed every day and just seeing all this bullshit. You know what? I participated in a few of it. I'll admit it. I was sick this week. I didn't give two shits, and I was just trolling to make myself feel better. I'll admit it.
I love trolling.
Yeah,
I troll the shit out of people.
We were being assholes, but at the end of the day, like I love my country. I love everybody in it. I don't care who you are. I might disagree with you. I think some people are really freaking stupid, and I wish they would see it a different way, but they don't. But I can't stop that. But what I don't want to happen is people to look at our country and go, we need it to be something else because it's not doing enough. Our country isn't perfect. It never has been, history-wise or anything. Like, we're not perfect, but what we try to do is to improve ourselves and to make ourselves better. And that's the only thing we can do, is try to figure out what the real problems are instead of distracting ourselves with the shiny objects in the room. looking at guns as they're the thing that's causing all the violence, which it isn't. It's people are causing violence, and we need to figure out why there is so much violence. What is it that we can do as Americans to stop it? What can we do to make our communities better? Can we do to make things better?
Yep.
But that's my soapbox moment, and I just this is coming from my heart, man. Like I'm just saying it out to there. Just what can we do?
And a caveat off something you said. You said they're trying to turn America into something that, something else that America was never created or meant to be.
America was never great. That's the thing.
Yeah, America is never great. So I call the progressive movement. Progressivism is
it's more like
European is the American version of the European Marxism.
Yeah,
and that's what it is. They just call it a different name. Europeans, a lot of countries out there have Marxism.
Yeah.
Progressive, if we called it Marxism in American, people would be like, fuck that. But they call it progressive. We're progressive. We're looking for change. But it's nothing more than Marxism.
And I'm probably going to get a few people upset. Is like, look, there are some social programs that I can get behind. I'll admit it. There are. I'm not an evil monster that's totally against everything, honestly. Like, healthcare for our kids, healthcare for everybody else, that would be great. Like, you can make the argument that's a constitutional issue, because the health and well-being, like the well-being of the United States is in the Constitution, and you can make that argument. I get that. But then there are other things that
I'll play devil's advocate real fast on that. Rand Paul said it the best yesterday.
Okay, what
he says, as a doctor, why am I guaranteed, like, for what people are being charged, that people don't have insurance and people being forced to have insurance? Why, as a doctor, should I be demonized and be told that I am forced and enslaved to have to take care of you?
And see,
exactly.
There are certain things that
there's a different argument for that, and I get where he's coming from. You can't force people to do that, but at the same time, you can't overcharge for services. And that's kind of where the problem is with the healthcare industry right now. And
do you know where all these charges for services are coming? It's not coming from the doctors themselves. It's
not coming from
big pharma.
Yeah, the pharmaceutical.
It's coming
the
from
pharmaceutical companies, especially where they're charging $300 for an EpiPen when Epi itself costs 5 cents to take a shot and take a syringe.
But here's the thing: people get mad at the insurance companies, thinking that it's the insurance company's fault.
No, it's not.
This goes back to what I was saying: is like we're not looking at the real issues, and we keep getting distracted by the shiny coins. We're not looking at what it is.
And to go back, there is a big difference, Coy, between social and socialism.
Yes.
You have social programs. That's not socialism. And you hear a lot of people from the left say,
I agree with that.
No, yeah, but you hear a lot of people from the left saying, well, we are pretty much a socialist country because we have Social Security, we have this. That's we pay the military. That's not socialism. That's a social program,
Yeah, there is a difference, and I'm no way condoning socialism as a whole. What private, like making government the central power of everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we should be able to take care of each other. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, any final thoughts before we take off for the night and go spend lovely Valentine's Day with our significant others if we have them around?
Yeah, right. Pornhub is my significant other tonight.
Yep.
All right, we know what Michael's doing.
If you guys don't know, Pornhub is free tonight until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning.
It's always free.
Oh, no.
Are they seriously really doing that? Like, are they having free Pornhub?
So I have a 4K TV downstairs in my living room. While no one was at the house today, I turned on 4K premium Pornhub.
And it lasted about 2 minutes.
You, sir, have a problem.
My flat screen... It's either 55 or 60 inches. It's big. It's
freaking huge.
It's huge. Yep. So
right.
Here's the thing.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for us tonight. We love you, America. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube. Everything is out there. Also, we could really use your support. You want us to, do more stuff. We plan on doing a lot more content building. We're going to be doing a lot more videos coming up down the pipe, and we could really use support. Go to Patreon, give us $1, man. You're not going to miss $1. Okay. But
exactly
$1 equals, 500 people. That's $500. That'd be great. Help us do more, give you guys cool stuff to look at and watch. That's what we're here for, is to, give you guys something to look at.
And if I could say something, Coy and I started this back in September. Mainly, this Coy's idea. I jumped on with him, and together we created, this Hooch thing that everyone loves. And we invest in ourselves in a lot of this, but at some point, you know, we need the help from our followers to help continue the content, to help keep equipment up, to help, you know, push out more products. So, you know, we're not guys out here begging. You rarely hear us. We don't ask for shit, but we do have a Patreon page, and, you know, just $1, you know, 50 cents, a quarter, whatever.
I think the minimum is $1. Though.
Yeah, the minimum is $1, but you know, everything helps. And it's not like we're putting that money in our pocket and going out and fucking getting wasted at a bar. No, we're using that money to upgrade our equipment, to get T-shirts, to, you know, do all types of stuff. So, you know, just look into our Patreon. Love it. If you give, you give. If you don't, we don't hold grudges. We don't talk about no one. We really don't care. But, you know, it helps us out. And believe it or not, we put into our own Patreon too. So we're actually putting money into it also. We're not just asking for money. We're actually doing.
We are going to have shirts soon in the next couple of months. So keep on the lookout for those. Anyway.
Really awesome.
No, I was gonna keep it a secret until it actually happens. So
okay, yeah, we'll keep it secret.
Keep it secret, then. But they're friends of ours, so it's cool. Anyway, we love you, America, and we will see you next week, probably around the same time. Generally Wednesdays, 7:00. You know, be here, be square, whatever.
And we
are out.
Out.